While the injury attorneys at The Advocates can't actually prevent you from being in a cycling accident, they will be by your side to support you following your accident. Our legal services won't cost you a dime out of pocket, so when you need an injury attorney, call us. We're The Advocates, your Utah personal injury attorneys. You didn't deserve to be in an accident, but you do deserve an advocate.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hello, friends. A tradition unlike any other. Jake having horrible takes on the Monty Show, presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, celebrating their 20th year, partnering with the Road Home to provide school supplies and basic educational necessities for the less fortunate kids in our communities. That's what I love about The Advocates. Whether you are in Phoenix, Utah, no matter where you listen to this show, The Advocates are working in the community to raise those that are less fortunate up, including kids. You know, we've talked about it on the show, how passionate I am about kids that, you know, already have a more difficult existence. And I think when you show up at school, and you know how kids work, you show up at school without notebooks, backpacks, lunch money, let alone clothing that doesn't have holes in it or shoes. It starts your day off on the wrong foot, and that day usually does not get better. And if we as a group can partner with The Advocates and the Road Home to help them give kids a better existence, we absolutely should do that. So in the coming weeks, we will be talking a lot about that. If you get into an accident, if you are hit riding your bicycle, please be careful riding your bicycle. If you're in a motorcycle accident, we see it every day, that motorcycle accidents, you and I both know, there's no minor motorcycle accident. They are usually catastrophic. Let The Advocates take the weight of the world off your shoulders. If you've been in an accident, get to theadvocates.com, chat with an injury attorney live online for free at theadvocates.com 24/7, 365. Before we get to Dan Hurley effing the Lakers, hello, Big Blue Horses. Hello, Mike Smith. Brutally, physical hockey game last night. Yeah, the Stanley Cup Finals ended last night in South Florida as the Florida Panthers essentially clinched the Stanley Cup last night. So congratulations to Florida there. Mr. Preston, hello. Yeah, I got to fix the tailgate on my Grand Cherokee. The 1% problems we have in this life. Gary says SMU is back. Eric in Raleigh.
Never living that down, bro.
What? SMU is back? The pro rata they deserve. Hello, Eric in Raleigh. Midweek Coug. Who's making Monty go all red ass this morning? Hit the like button.
Dude, you're not helping things.
You
okay?
could say that I was a red ass yesterday about Mike Van Gundy. But tell me that you can pronounce that I was incorrect about Mike Gundy. Talked about it in the comment section yesterday. Oh. You know. Dakota Tubbs, who is an emissary of our good enemy Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, Dubinsky.
Dan Hurley told the Lakers where they could shove it.
Okay.
Is that actually what happened? The LA Lakers and Dan Hurley seem to be pretty far down the line. And I think a lot of people's question is, how did this deal not get done? It is shocking that Dan Hurley, the head coach of UConn Basketball, flew all the way to Los Angeles for a day and a half to meet with the Lakers, to leave Los Angeles without a deal, and then ultimately to spurn the Lakers to stay at UConn Basketball is shocking by any measure. Maybe more shocking is the Lakers didn't really make him an offer that would move him off his spot. And I think that's the narrative that is being spun. Listen, I think it's true. Was it a top 6 offer? It was. The Lakers offered to make Dan Hurley one of the 6 highest paid coaches in the NBA. But when you are trolling for the biggest fish in the pond, is a top 6 salary really enough? I'm telling you, it is not enough. And I believe in my heart of hearts, this came down to a financial decision for Dan Hurley. Was it enough to leave a very cush job with a loaded roster and a very, very likely opportunity to win 3 straight national championships for UConn basketball? Was a top 6 salary enough? And my belief is it was not. I think it came down to money and leaving comfort and leaving what he knows and taking a very, very difficult job. I think one of the most difficult jobs in the NBA. So, Jake, I think this came down to money for Dan Hurley.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think that, obviously anytime you're looking at a fresh opportunity, that's supposed to be a promotion in some ways, your first thing is going to be money. And then your second thing is going to be how it affects your family and the people in your life. And I think for Dan, we had all heard the, just the speculation that his wife wasn't a huge fan of, leaving the New Jersey area where they're currently at, and going west for this. And I also think, again, this point that everyone and their mom is making about how the NBA is an 82-game season and it's a much heavier grind, I think is a good one. It's a fair point. But I can't get away from this idea that Dan Hurley would not have flown to Los Angeles if he was not interested in the Lakers job. And that's the part that's disappointing for me because the Lakers had this guy. The Lakers had a great opportunity here to make a splash, to sort of, change the direction of the organization, sort of change the narrative a little bit, instead of hiring a guy that's out there right now, James Borrego, right? A decent coach, a solid candidate, someone who can do the job, but not like a, transformative, big time landing that's going to ultimately, really help you and push you forward. And that's what I felt like Dan could have been for the Los Angeles Lakers. I felt like Dan had the personality to handle guys like LeBron and Anthony Davis. Felt like he had the X's and O's to go out and beat great defenses in the NBA on a night in, night out basis. And what, again, not to be repetitive on this point, but I was yesterday very shocked that the offer was only top 6. And I know that might sound crazy. Like, hey, this guy's never coached an NBA game, obviously prolific college coach, so why, how is top 6 not enough? Well, top 6 is not enough for the Lakers because the Lakers need Dan Hurley. The Lakers need someone to come in
desperately
and do the damn job. And so the idea that now you rolled up with a top 6 offer instead of like a top 3 offer, basically an offer that's so good that he can't refuse it, is surprising to me. Like, it needed to be a thing where if Dan was going to say no, it was going to be clear that he was just so committed to UConn and his family. We couldn't even blame the Lakers. The offer was so good. Who could blame the Lakers? That's the situation that should have taken place here. But that's not what happened. And for that reason alone, I was disappointed in this yesterday.
Yeah, you should have paid him. The number I think that probably would have gotten him would have been $15 million. And I think when you look at that number, that is certainly a nice number for Dan Hurley. You would have probably guaranteed him a $60 million payday. I think he didn't. I agree with you. You don't fly to Los Angeles if you are not going to, if you're not going to seriously consider taking the job. And he has talked about the fact that it was a dream job for him to be an NBA head coach, but you're not going for a minimal, and he's making half of what he was offered by the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
But word is UConn's going to match what the Lakers offered him. So I just, at the end of the day, what were you paying for? You were paying for Dan Hurley to take a huge risk. And the Lakers didn't want to do that. It's the reason that Tyronn Lue is not the coach of the Lakers, but the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reason that they continue to struggle to land big candidates, because they don't want to pay somebody the requisite amount of money that is required to land the biggest fish in the sea. And you're going to wind up with a JJ Redick or a James Borrego. And the harsh reality is that's not good enough.
100%.
You're the LA Lakers. Was Dan Hurley a risk? Certainly. He was a risk. And if he'd have flamed and he'd have been another Laker coach to last 3 seasons, you're the Lakers, you move on. But at least you went as high as you could go in the moment. Because the truth is, and I think a lot of Laker fans don't want to acknowledge this, there's not a backup.
Mm-hmm.
There is only a step back. That's a significant difference. There is not a backup. There is only a step back here for the Lakers. That's this, as shitty as I can put it. And I know that sounds terrible. That's the truth. Is James Borrego a step up from even Darvin Ham? Darvin Ham is right back in Milwaukee as the lead assistant. So was it Darvin Ham or was it the Lakers? I think it's a little bit of both. I think Jeannie Buss, from what I understand, talking to my Laker friends, I think Jeannie Buss has a hierarchy problem. The Rambis family has far too much influence on that organization. I think Jeannie Buss is somebody that likes to sit around, sip expensive coffee, and talk about Laker basketball.
Right.
And unfortunately, I think Rob Pelinka's a really good general manager who doesn't necessarily have the power he needs to run that team. And I think, the elephant in the room is how much impact does LeBron James have there? Now, everybody and their brother involved in that situation is telling you that LeBron's not involved. And I tend to agree with that. But he may not be involved in who and when and how. But if you don't think he's a topic of conversation when they're interviewing Dan Hurley to be their next head coach, if you think that JJ Redick or James Borrego are not having significant discussions about how they will use and utilize LeBron James, I think you're crazy.
Well, and how much power LeBron's got in personnel decisions. I mean, I think you look at, and this doesn't just apply to LeBron, and I think people need to start wrapping their heads around this. Like, the best players in the league have say on personnel on some level. You're not going to go out and sign great players without at least a text or a call to the best player on your roster saying, "Hey, what do you think of this? We have an opportunity at this guy. We think it could be, we think that you could use him this way. How do you feel about that? And just letting those players feel heard. And that's where I think you have to understand the dynamic and the power that players have in the league. And so, like, when the Mavericks went and got Kyrie, they absolutely talked to Luka about that for obvious reasons, right? Kyrie is obviously a high volume player, a high volume shooter, someone who is an on the ball guy. That's obviously going to change how they do business in Dallas on the offensive end. So with LeBron and the Lakers, like, I think it's a natural thing that you would ask LeBron, "Hey, what do you think of Dan?" And that's why I think you've got ESPN and everyone else, showing LeBron tweets about how he was praising Dan during the tournament and, "Hey, love the offense, Dan, and everything's amazing." Like that's why that narrative gets pushed, because if the Lakers were trying to hire someone LeBron wasn't a fan of, you're not getting hired. But I don't think that was the case here, and that's why I tend to agree with you. I don't think LeBron was sitting here saying, "Hey, let's lowball Dan." And that's what I characterize it as. That is a low ball offer. And I don't quite understand it because, again, a coach's salary, it's not like it's attached to your salary cap. It is an outside expense. You got to go and find your guy. So when inevitably Woj goes on ESPN and says, "Hey, they're trying to hire somebody by the draft at the end of the month." I think it's the 26th, I believe it is.
It is.
When you're trying to hire someone in the next 2 weeks, like, the Dan Hurley thing took 4 days, 3 days. Like, hiring coaches is not like a one-day thing. So I feel like by not hiring Dan, you're sort of in this tough spot now where you're a bit behind and you're really going to have to accelerate this process to find somebody. And I don't know that doesn't really lend itself to a great search is kind of my point. Like you are very much kind of pigeonholed into these sort of, contingency plans, I guess.
Yeah, I also tend to agree that when you look at the coaches who have followed Phil Jackson, Rudy Tomjanovich and Frank Hamlin were not successful, and Phil comes back. Mike Brown, Bernie Bickerstaff, Mike D'Antoni, Byron Scott, Luke Walton, Frank Vogel, and Darvin Ham. Not one of them has succeeded, because you can't be a low-level coach or a JJ Redick, who's very Luke Walton, and succeed in Los Angeles. What so many people forget is Darvin Ham took this team to a Western Conference Finals, and it wasn't good enough. And as much as everybody wants to sit around and hate on the Lakers, they took a shot. They didn't throw a hook into the water and hope to get Dan Hurley. They shot a harpoon at that dude. And granted, they missed. But if we're going to sit here and criticize the Lakers, it should not be for pursuing Dan Hurley, because I think that was a home run until you struck out and didn't get him. That's the biggest issue here. My question is, where do you go from here? Because I'm telling you, James Borrego is not the next head coach of the Lakers. He's the next caretaker of the Lakers. Where do you go from here? JJ Redick is very unlikely to succeed as the next head coach of the Lakers. And you know what the sad and probably tragic truth is? There's not a great candidate out there.
Nope.
Are you telling me if and again, I point to guys in college. It's very rare that a college coach of a Dan Hurley level comes in and wins an NBA championship. It's very, very rare. Isn't Larry Brown the last one to do it? He is. And it's why, you can go across the country and you can look at the Nate Oates at Alabama. I'd hire Nate Oates tomorrow if I were a college looking for a basketball coach.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nate Oates was obviously a leading candidate for UConn when the Dan Hurley stuff started.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about that. So, that makes sense. But I think that there's not really, many other people out there that would be like a home run hire. And that's why I say, I don't know if Jeannie or Rob or whoever, was like, yeah, we're going to make him an offer that is 2.25 times more than what he's making now on an annual basis. And that seems like a good number, because that's just not how I would have looked at it. I wouldn't have looked at it as, hey, well, we're doubling your salary. That's I feel like a lot of people feel like that's a great offer. Oh, we're going to double your salary. But you're not. The doubling the salary is not in alignment with how much risk Dan is taking. That's the problem. So it shouldn't be, oh, well, Steve Kerr's making this and Budenholzer's making that or whatever. That's not how we should be looking at it. We should be looking at it as, hey, there's not another great option out there that would make a lot of sense. Dan's taking a lot of risk from, I don't know, a career perspective, a family perspective. Like you're talking about a lot of change, man. And I agree with you. The UConn job is cushy as hell for him. So you're asking him to do something that's not comfortable in pursuit of what would be his natural progression from a career arc standpoint. And this is somebody who didn't feel like they were done at UConn yet, who felt like, hey, it's time to go out and try to make history and win 3 in a row, which most people think he's going to go ahead and do. So
I also don't know that there's another college guy outside of Nate Oates. Are you hiring Bill Self from Kansas? He's not leaving Kansas. Calvin Sampson at Houston, I think, is arguably the best coach in the country. Is Calvin Sampson leaving Houston now? That probably doesn't seem right. Mark Few's not leaving Gonzaga. There's not another college guy.
Yeah, you're going to have to take a flyer on like a top assistant or something. You're going to have to go and find someone who's in the league now, who has been waiting in the wings for an opportunity. And unfortunately, you're probably going to wind up taking a risk on somebody. And And I hate that for the Lakers because, when the Lakers are good, it's better for the league. But I just don't know what else you do here. And that's my struggle. You don't have Phil Jackson sitting out there waiting to come back because, he's still hungry. You don't have, some a name out there that's just like, oh, man, like if we could get him for 2 years and then we could, in those 2 years, let him do him and we can go and hunt somebody or try to put something together. Like, you don't have that option anymore.
I don't know. I feel like the other name that's being left out here is Sam Cassell. I mean, the guy just everywhere he goes, they win. And he is somebody that I think, obviously, he's one of the top assistants in Boston right now. That's a really good defensive team. And I think you look at Sam Cassell, he's got to be there. I don't know how JJ Redick already hasn't been offered the job. James Borrego's just not that guy. I mean,
No.
I understand he's going to be everybody's All-American. He is supposedly, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, in Cleveland right now interviewing for their job. But it just feels like a situation where you don't have a great fallback. You don't have a former player that you feel like can be the Steve Kerr, or mainly because you don't have that roster. You have the truth about the Lakers roster is you're on the older side. Obviously, you're transitioning out of LeBron James in the next 2 years. You're built around Anthony Davis. And I think if we're truth-telling about what Dan Hurley would have been able to do here, I think he would have been able to turn up the defense, and I think he would have been able to use his guards more effectively. That's what the Lakers don't have, is effective guard play. And I think eventually you're going to have to find somebody that had a similar vision to what Dan Hurley does at UConn, because everybody's trying to copy that now anyways. Let's be honest about it. But there's not a guy out there. Kenny Atkinson at Golden State, you could have hired him 3 different times and you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't feel like the right way to go. Hell, I mean, you could probably go back to D'Antoni before you did that.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, I don't know, man. I feel like if you're LeBron sitting here watching this, like, yeah, you're probably a little disappointed in that. I would have thought, that I guess I just can't get past the fact that the Lakers seemingly did not understand that, hey, if we don't get Dan, there's not much left here. Like, there's not another guy where we're like in love with this dude. Like, we got to get Dan. And that's a mistake. That's a misstep. That's that, hey, yeah, Jeannie does like to drink nice ass coffee and just feel like she knows what she's talking about type mentality. That's not like, hey, we're going to listen to Rob and Rob's going to tell us, hey, we got to do everything under the sun to go ahead and get Dan, because if we don't, we're in trouble. And that's where I'm telling you, like, the Lakers just have not been that same organization after Phil and obviously after Kobe. You just weren't the same.
I think I'd be chasing the only college coach is Nate Oates. Yeah. That's it. But if I were the Lakers, I'd be on Sam Cassell. That's where I'd be. And I know they've talked about it in LA, but that's the only move, in my opinion, that makes a lot of sense. That would excite fans. He is a really smart. I think he can bring the volatility and the energy that job requires.
Mm-hmm.
Another Dan Hurley trait that I think would have been huge. But I also think we're underselling one lead on Dan Hurley. How important was it for Dan Hurley to remain at UConn? Man, I think this was a pivotal move for college basketball, because I think you need a dynasty. I think you need somebody to say they believe in being a head coach in college. With as damaged as the reputation of the NCAA is now, with NIL, with transfer portal, with all these lawsuits and the money and the BS, and with all of that going on, I think it was critically important for the college game for Dan Hurley to stay. I think they're likely, I mean, I don't even know who else you would favor
right
over UConn right now. He has got a roster that's and I can't believe I'm going to say it, better than his team was this year and certainly 2 years ago. He's deeper now than he's ever been. Like, you would assume that Dan Hurley's going to compete for a third championship here.
Yeah.
I think that's huge for college basketball. I think that is huge for UConn. I think that is huge for their TV partners. Like, I think this was a transformative moment for college basketball, keeping Dan Hurley at UConn.
Absolutely. And I think that the college game has been starved of the iconic coach since Coach K retired. And I think that that's been definitely a factor at play. I mean, if you don't, this is how I like to categorize it. If you don't follow, like, if you're a casual college basketball fan, like, you watch the game sometimes, you show up for UNC Duke, like, you show up for the big matchup, but you're not like ingrained in it. Like, maybe you don't know who Nate Oates is, or maybe you don't know who, Bill Self is somehow, or whatever. Like, you're just that casual observer. The game needs UConn. The game, everybody and their mom knows who Dan Hurley is now. Everybody. And that, I think, is a huge win. And I think for Dan clearly understands the gravity of winning 3 in a row. Like, that's a big deal. Like, we don't really hear about people 3-peating or 4-peating outside of, like, Oklahoma softball, right? Like, when's the last time you heard someone do that? Because I
never in football.
Yeah, like, never in football. Like, you don't really have it in baseball that I know of. Obviously, we might get it in basketball, but you don't really get that, and that's why it's iconic. And I think what Dan wants to happen is he wants to 3-peat, and then he probably wants to evaluate. Okay, cool.
But was Dan Hurley an LA guy? Because I also think this is an interesting discussion. If they'd have paid him $15 million a year for 7 years, would that have been enough money to make Dan Hurley a Los Angeles resident? I think there is some doubt if that would have done it. I think there is a lot of belief. The storylines that are out there that, his wife didn't want to go. His wife has been as supportive as any. She was when he met with his players yesterday, his wife was there.
Yeah.
His wife was not stopping Dan Hurley from taking this job. There are stories out there that the Lakers made a take it now or never offer. Then why did they let him leave without taking the offer or declining it?
Yeah.
Like, all bullshit. Like, Dan Hurley, at the end of the day, I think 2 things weighed in most. I think he isn't a Los Angeles guy. The Hurleys are very understated. We knew the Hurleys in Scottsdale through some real estate dealings. They're very understated people. They're not trying to make big splashes in Los Angeles. That never felt comfortable. And I think winning a 3-peat, to your point, which is so rare, it's rarefied air. He's already probably a Hall of Famer with this run at UConn.
100%.
But to take it to the next level and win 3 straight.
You're talking about doing things that pretty much nobody else has done. And I think that anytime you have an opportunity to do that, it's hard to just say, whatever. Who cares? Like, he's not going to say that. And I think, you're probably right. Like, Dan's never been splashy guy. Dan's never been like, I said last week that I felt like Dan had the right temperament to coach that team. Like, he had the right energy. He had that aggressiveness. Like, he would have been a fit with this current roster, but would he have been comfortable in the day-to-day? It's hard to say. I mean, LA is like, obviously we all know this, but LA is such a different place than like, you're talking about coming from, somewhere in New Jersey to Los Angeles. Like, you're not coming from New Jersey to Denver. Like, you're coming to a mecca of mass humanity and culture. And while a lot of people love that, Dan is in the earned position of being able to write his own ticket. That's the beautiful thing for Dan and his family. So that's why I say, like, it's not all on the Lakers. There were certainly some things for Dan here that felt like, hey, like, it's probably better for us if we just stay here and I chase what I built, right? But ultimately, I can't emphasize this enough. When the Lakers lose 10 or 15 in a row this season, and we're talking about, will they make the play-in? Will they barely make the playoffs again? Well, we're talking about that. You remember this day yesterday, and you remember, hey, they didn't make it hard on Dan Hurley. Dan had an easy decision here. $100 million, in my opinion, would have made it very difficult on Dan and his family to say no to this. Like, very difficult. Now, that would have put him at the top of the league, obviously, but the Lakers need this guy.
But also, I think there's one other point that's really important. Don't forget Bob Hurley Sr. He is, I mean, by any measure, one of the most successful basketball coaches in the history of the game. And I think when you are Dan Hurley and you have a chance to do something your old man never did, or to be like, we're talking about rare air. I think there are a lot more dynamics than fuck LeBron and I hate the Lakers.
Yeah.
I think that was way down the list, if it was on the list at all. I think Dan Hurley going back to UConn was critically important for the college game. I think it was critically important for his family, including his father. And I think Dan Hurley just is more comfortable in Connecticut than he is in Storrs, Connecticut, of all places, than he is in Santa Monica, California.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the reality of it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that, again, like I said, we need to give Dan Hurley a lot of credit, dude. Like, he's earned that right. He's earned the right to choose where he wants to be and what he wants to do. And I give him a lot of credit for that, dude. Like, he's doing something he's borderline doing something we haven't seen before, assuming they were to win again. So that's why I say it's really I don't
even know where you go here.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, don't talk to me about James Borrego or like I actually like JJ Redick, but the reality is he's never coached an NBA team, and there's massive risk in that for huge risk, dude. If JJ Redick were to make it through his first season, if they were to hire him, that would be a huge win for the organization, honestly. Because JJ Redick, the reality is JJ Redick is not a head coach. JJ Redick is a top assistant. He is somebody who doesn't need to be standing on the sideline coaching the team during the game. He needs to be looking at the tape on the iPad and saying, hey, we need to do X, Y, and Z because this is what they're doing. That is what JJ is good at. That's why his podcast works with LeBron.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get your comments in here. Thanks to our friends at Prize Picks, prizepicks.com. The cruel, cruel world that Jake lives in, having to see his old man dominate at something that he'll never dominate at, which in this case is Prize Picks. I mean, are you tired of my winnings at this point? Or, I mean, are you crying?
I might need a wellness check, dude. It's been a really rough go. We got golf on tap in a couple of days. I might just
the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I might just pass on until the U.S. Open gets here. And then I'm gonna, of course, take Tiger to shoot a 178 at the U.S. Open in his first round. So that's a pretty reliable pick these days.
Yeah, I think Tiger makes the cut at the Open this weekend.
I hope so, dude. Golf needs it so bad.
Yeah, Scotty's dominating. We never got to that yesterday. Is Scotty Scheffler or Dan Hurley the most dominant athlete in the world right now?
I mean, all jokes aside, you can make a case for Dan. Good.
Scotty Scheffler is the most dominant athlete in the world. If you are on Prize Picks, one of the things in golf you can take is birdies or better. Always take more. Always take more. NBA is great. Major League Baseball. I stayed off of Prize Picks yesterday for one singular reason. Does anybody want to guess what that reason was?
Because you're just not good at it?
Suck it. No, because Aaron Judge was off yesterday. I don't even think Aaron Judge got in at bat. He did not. He had a full day off yesterday, which is why I had a full day off from Prize Picks, which is pretty rare. I'm pretty much, a sex machine on Prize Picks.
Right. Yeah.
The only thing I do more than Prize Picks is play golf.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also remind you that as a Cubs fan, I have learned to stay out of the business of prize picking with the Cubs. And Juan Soto back in the lineup yesterday. Almost picked him, but didn't. So prizepicks.com, use the promo code Monty.
Mm-hmm.
Get 100% deposit matching. When you use the promo code Monty, that means you put in $20. They'll give you 20 more, and you can play for months on $40. on Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com.
Oh, hold on. One more thing on Hurley. I did not see yesterday. Maybe this is my bad. I didn't see the Connecticut governor said, hey, we're going to make sure that Buddy's the top paid college coach. Like, come on, dude.
They already, before he went to Los Angeles, when he let the Connecticut know. So Dan Hurley told UConn, hey, I'm going to go interview for the Laker job. They made him an offer, and I'm guessing they had it ready because it's only been a year since he signed his extension.
Mm-hmm.
They made him an offer to make him the second highest paid coach in college basketball. So that offer's on the table at Connecticut. We'll see. Yesterday, the governor of Connecticut came out and said, we're going to make sure that he is well compensated. But it'll be interesting to see what he winds up doing. And is there going to be like some heavy buyout or like, I'm fascinated by that stuff. Because if you are an NBA team, are you going to interview Dan Hurley? He flew to LA and didn't take the job.
Yeah, I think that it depends on which team you are and what market you're in. I think if you're an East Coast team, if you're the Knicks, you're damn right you're interviewing him at some point when Tibbs is done. If Tibbs gets done soon. If you're, anybody up and down the East Coast, I think you got to be all over Dan.
I don't know about that. Mountain Mama. Hello, Michael. Who called me fat yesterday.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
And he said that I eat fast food, I believe, yesterday as well. I don't eat fast food.
Fat.
And what did I eat yesterday? All jokes about your mom aside, I had oats in the morning. I had a whole sweet potato, turkey, and black beans for lunch. And then because I'm lazy, I had a McDonald's. No, I'm kidding. For dinner, I had ground turkey, black beans, and salsa. The ground turkey thing is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good. Made the pregame this morning. Unbelievable. Anyway, all right. Mike, who calls me fat. Maybe it wasn't the money. Maybe he weighed it and made his decision. Word is he was asking multiple people for opinions. He did have a coffee clutch that apparently included his brothers and his dad. That included several people he calls mentors. He did get a lot of input on the job. Or heck, maybe he just had bad vibes with the Lakers front office. I don't think that's the case. I think we all like to roll in and be like, oh, LeBron, he's the reason Dan Hurley didn't take the job.
LeCap.
Oh, excuse me. Lecoq is the reason he didn't take the job.
LeBag.
It's not the case. Eric in Durham. What about the recruiting bump Hurley is going to get from this? The Lakers wanted me, but I want to be here to coach you at UConn. Let's win another national championship together. I think his roster's loaded already.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a rock star in your living room, period. I mean, if Dan Hurley's calling you or writing you letters, you're answering. You are answering. Dakota Tubbs, personally really happy that he's staying at the college level. I think a lot of people are. Mike, who called me fat, agreed, Dakota. Kind of nice story when normally coaches jump ship so easily anymore. Damian Fowler, hello. Sounds like family is more important to him.
I don't know that it's just his family. I mean, that's obviously a factor. I think what's more important to Dan is winning. I think that Dan, again, don't undersell how important it is to Dan Hurley to do something that most people will never have a sniff at.
Yeah, I think legacy matters. And I think that when you look at Dan Hurley, he has a chance to do something that not many people do. He has a chance to put himself in like Phil Jackson territory with three-peats.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's remarkable. I think it is remarkable. OG Gary, Genie got to sell the team. It's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. Big Blue Horses, AD is fragile. Well, he just played 76 games.
Tell me you're not paying attention.
LeBron is going to be 40. No real draft assets. They do actually have their draft picks this year. They have traded several of their future assets, but they actually have draft compensation this year. 150 win season in 10 years, and now you hire a guy who isn't your top choice. Well, I think that so if you're the Lakers, you're not supposed to try and get Dan Hurley. You're the Lakers. You're supposed to try and get Dan Hurley.
Yeah, I think what he's trying to say is, the nonsense he's running out is, hey, AD gets hurt all the time. LeBron's 40, and now you missed on Dan. What are we doing?
Yeah, I think that you don't, and this is the great untold truth.
Yeah.
You don't cast off a guy like LeBron James. And I it's the same Dan Hurley discussion. Were they supposed to say no to LeBron when he came to LA? Well, of course you wouldn't say no to LeBron. Are you supposed to not trade for Anthony Davis? Well, of course you're going to trade for Anthony Davis. Are you supposed to not go and get Dan Hurley? The mistake is not trying to get Dan Hurley. The mistake was undervaluing Dan Hurley.
Mm-hmm.
If, in fact, it was a money play. Would $15 million a year have sealed the deal? Probably. Lakers are not known to pay their coaches well after Phil. It's why you didn't get Tyronn Lue. And Ty Lue has talked about that openly. So, I don't know. It's a mistake trying to get Dan Hurley or not offering him enough once he's in Los Angeles. Because they supposedly knocked him off his feet. They supposedly wined and dined him. Like, it was a great meeting. And he told the Lakers Saturday midday, hey, I'm going to head back home and I'll give you an answer on Monday. And his answer was no. I outside of the money, I don't know that the Lakers could have done anything else.
Right.
But that's just me. Christy Sides is available. Okay. Mike Smith, just have LeBron retired and hire him as the head coach. Trade for Eric Spoelstra, one of the best coaches in the NBA. OG Gary, I've said this before. I'll say it again. My Lakers got to blow it up. If possible, trade Bron, AD, and Austin Reeves. Just trade them all. You don't need talent. Just trade them all.
Yeah, I mean, who are you, the Lakers?
One, you can't trade Anthony Davis and LeBron James without their permission. And I don't know that either one of those guys is going to be looking to exit Los Angeles. They're making really good money. LeBron's making 50, AD, I think, is making 40. And they're competing for championships just about every season. And again, I'll remind you, they were in the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago. So,
see, and that's precisely the point. It's not that they're terrible.
They're not terrible.
They're not terrible. They're just not good enough. That's the problem. And that is, the price you pay for being the Lakers. And I have no problem with it. I have no problem with, hey, it's championship or bust, and the Western Conference Finals just is not good enough. And I think that, everyone wants to, categorize this organization as like a losing organization in the last 10 years. Has it been, has the last 10 years been as good as 2000 to 2010? Well, no, of course not. Right? Obviously not. You haven't had the same coaching. Again, age-old discussion. I think Kobe is a better fit with his personality in that organization than Bron is, but that's just my opinion. And everyone wants to discount the bubble championship when the reality is, if you look at that championship and you look at the circumstances they had to deal with, that's probably a harder championship to win than it would be now. And so that's why I say it's not like they're terrible, bro. The issue is that they're constantly playing the draft capital or lack thereof versus making deals.
And I would also point out Anthony Davis is he's coming off his best season ever. I mean, when you look at the fact he played 76 games, most ever. You look at the fact that he played 35 and a half minutes and played 76 games. You look at the fact he should have gotten, I think most people's opinion, far more consideration for the Defensive Player of the Year than he did. 25 points, a steal, 2.5 blocks, 3.5 assists, 12.5 rebounds a game.
What else do you want?
You're not trading that guy. You're not trading that guy. That's not happening. Nor should you want to. It's a different discussion if Anthony Davis plays 30 games next year. Okay, well, of course it's a different discussion. But Anthony Davis is coming off of the best season of his career. The idea that you would blow it up and that you would trade AD, LeBron, and Austin Reeves is, with all due respect, Gary, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's not how you win NBA championships. What this team has to do is find stability, which when you have emotional ownership, you don't find stability. You need, in my opinion, you need to find the guy that is Jason Kidd level coach, who's got some experience as a head coach, as a player that guys respect. And right now, as I've said for this entire show, that guy's not out there.
Right.
He doesn't exist right now, at least not in most people's, in most people's experience. Remember, Jason Kidd had to fail in New Jersey and Brooklyn before he became the head coach of the Mavericks. And I think that's something that you should consider, because I look at Sam Cassell, who I still think that's the guy that I would hire. I still think that's the right guy. He has mad respect across the league, and he's not going to be questioned repeatedly by his players, as Darvin Ham was. He's not going to be, what has this guy ever done? He's won championships.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's done. Like, you can't, in my opinion, continue to go and hire James Borregos. And I think Frank Vogel was maybe the hero you needed, not the one you wanted. Won your championship. And now the problem is, I think they have 17 and the Celtics are about to wrap up their 18th championship banner. So now you're behind the Celtics again. So now you got to raise the bar again.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that you're going to blow this team up and just trade everybody, come on. Do you think Austin Reeves and Anthony Davis grow on trees in this league? Look how difficult it is to find a dominant big man.
Yeah, you're guard play away from being a dominant team, dude. You're reasonable offense away from being a dominant team. So the solution doesn't always lie in trade everybody and burn the whole thing to the ground. The solution lies in finding, now with current situation, no longer, Dan's obviously off the table. Now you got to find someone like Sam Cassell or someone like that who can come in with experience, who knows how to X and O and knows how to, in the moment, draw up a good play that can get you the result you need to get. Because that was Darvin's biggest problem.
Yes,
you
totally agree.
Unable to in the moment say, okay, hey, the Mavericks are not a good defensive team. Let's go right after Luka, because we know he's not going to commit fouls, so we know we can get paint penetration. And if they collapse, we're going to kick. And Buddy over here, Austin Reeves, Taurean Prince, whoever it's going to be, is going to be standing in the corner waiting for you, Bron.
But don't forget, this team's also elite. The Lakers are an elite defensive team. Like, this team, I'm telling you, they're not far away. The issue is, if DeMar DeRozan was on the LA Lakers, if they'd have made the decision to pursue, pick your, oh my God, LA Clipper,
PG,
Paul George. If they'd have offered Paul George what they should have offered Paul George, they've probably got multiple championships.
Yeah,
but they didn't. If they'd have offered DeMar DeRozan what they should have offered DeMar DeRozan, they'd probably have multiple championships, but they didn't. You have to go and do what has to be done. Because, and I know that it's not popular, the Lakers are still a destination. My question is, where is the next great head coach coming from?
At both levels. I mean, I love Dan Hurley, but he ain't going to be there forever. Who's next?
Yeah. It is what it is, man. I think it is. I think it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. Coming up in 5 minutes, we'll talk about Caitlyn Clark missing the Olympic team. Jake's all butthurt over that.
Yeah.
Dakota Tubbs, the Lakers need another pandemic bubble to win a championship. See, I think this is another one. I actually think it was far more difficult to win a championship in the bubble. I don't think it was easy. I don't think it was a free pass at all. We now, obviously, as soon as they all got out of the bubble, everybody talked about the depression and the anxiety struggles they all went through. The fact that they could not leave Disney World in Orlando. And the fact that guys got kicked out and put in quarantine for ordering Grubhub. They were getting food delivered, and it was not going through the proper screening process. Like, I can't remember who the player was that had food delivered through a fence, and he got caught, and they quarantined him. Like, that was no easy.
No.
That was no easy. No. Kaner, and BYU is having another 4-star player coming in today. BYU basketball is going to be great. Well, you got to win games now. Let's see. Brandon Butler, they needed to make the Godfather offer to Hurley, and they Fredoed the deal. You don't understand that. That is a Godfather reference. I know it was you, Fredo. Okay. OG Gary Cassell would be nice. I agree. I think he would. Mike, who called me fat. Enough basketball talk. Let's switch it up and talk about rats. Okay. That's fine. Rats. Talk about rats. Let's get into the Caitlyn Clark thing.
Yeah.
Because I am interested to hear what you guys think about this. Do you guys believe that Caitlyn Clark was snubbed from the Olympic team? Because I do not believe that she was snubbed from the Olympic team. Now, should she be on that team? She should be. But it's not because of her basketball ability. She has been pretty average in the WNBA. She has really turns the ball over regularly.
Mm-hmm.
But should she be on the team instead of Diana Taurasi? Sabrina Ionescu? No. The answer is no. Those are the two that most people are talking about. And Charles Barkley, who I'm going to crush in a minute, I thought made a really good point. If I'm trying to win a championship, do I want to give the ball to Ionescu or Caitlyn Clark? I'm going to give it to Ionescu.
Mm-hmm.
Diana Taurasi or Caitlyn Clark? I'm going to give it to Diana Taurasi. Caitlyn Clark has not been her normal dominant self in the WNBA. Not yet. She will be. But not everything around Caitlyn Clark is a tragedy or a snub when she doesn't get what you all think she should get. Jake, I just don't view this as a snub.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to say it's a snub when, she's still a rookie. I think that the Team USA stuff, is pretty clear. Like look at the men's side. The men's side is always clean cut. There's always someone saying, oh, I got snubbed, or how's this dude not on the roster? Because it's a highly competitive situation. And when the big boys want to play, they basically have an auto bid onto that roster, which is what you're seeing this go around, because all these guys want to play one more time. And, I think the thing for Caitlyn Clark is that, yeah, she is a phenom. She is someone who, the media just obsesses over in so many different ways. And I do think that there is some frustration around that. I think that if you're, the veteran in the WNBA who's Team USA good, and you see this hotshot rookie coming into the league, like, you're grateful for what she's doing because it's helping grow the game. But at the same time, you feel like, yeah, she's still got to earn her stripes in the league. And I think that's completely fair. I do. I think if you're going to be on Team USA as a rookie in the league, you got to be the best player in the league right out the gate. Like, it's got to be a no doubt about it. How could you not have her on this roster? Like, And I just don't think we're there with Caitlyn Clark. She hasn't come into the league and shot 43% from three and threw up 30 points a night and like just making it look easy. That's not what she's done. And there's a lot of factors that go into that. I'm certainly not saying she sucks, but what I am saying is that she's learning how to play the WNBA game. So let her learn how to play the WNBA game. Let's not put her on this pedestal where she's got to go out and save the world at the Olympics. Let's let the older players go ahead and do that because they want to do that. There is a group of them that want to play together to go out and try to win a gold medal. And that part, I do think, is less about Caitlyn Clark and more about the current players who are on that team. You have to understand there's dynamics at play. These people have been playing together for a long time.
But there's also the fact that, the head coach of the women's basketball program, who's also the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, Cheryl Reeve, ripped the WNBA for featuring Caitlyn Clark and saying that there's other players in the WNBA beyond Caitlyn Clark. You have to understand that there has been vitriol and frustration towards Caitlyn Clark by most of the WNBA not named Caitlyn Clark. And a lot of players on Team USA, I think, are included in that group. And then you add in the fact that Caitlyn Clark talked about how her snub from the Olympic team, woke a monster right into a missed 8-foot layup last night that, in fact, was an air ball. And I think all of those things combined, for my opinion, to be, I think this was an absolute gift to Caitlyn Clark. Because remember, again, when has she had a prolonged break from playing basketball recently?
Years.
She needs a summer off. She needs to be able to, bypass the WNBA playoffs because they're not getting in and have a summer off where you can work on your game, recover your body. And yeah, is it going to be tough to watch the Olympics and not be on that team? It is going to be. But it's a blessing in disguise. But stop this garbage with, her coach at the Fever said that she texted her and said they've awoken a sleeping monster. Get the fuck out of it. Go home. Go home. I understand you're a competitor. It's okay not to compete for a minute. Be invisible. Is the worst thing in the world for Caitlyn Clark to be invisible for 3-4 months?
Oh, and it's like I think Caitlyn Clark would do well to take a page out of Kobe's book. Go compete in the weight room. Go compete on the practice floor, right? Go make yourself better, right? Go understand, okay, hey, in my rookie season, the tape tells me X, Y, and Z that I'm struggling with. Let's go and mitigate that. Let's go and I still maintain she has got to get stronger. She should not be getting physically just bullied around on the floor. She needs to learn that physicality is part of that WNBA game in a way that it's not a part of the college game. And she's not fit for it yet. So that's one thing she's going to have to improve on. But I also think, Caitlyn Clark has never really had to consider shot selection in her game
or failure.
Yeah, or failure. and I think that's another thing that she's got to work through. So yeah, yes. I do think it's good for her that she's not on the team, but I don't want to skip over the fact that in my view, it's less about Caitlyn Clark as a person, right? It's not like, hey, you're not on Team USA because you're an arrogant, person who just doesn't fit. It's more about, hey, we have a group of players here on Team USA who work together well, who, dominate the game, and we're going to keep running that thing until they can't do it anymore. And I have no issue with that. And if next year, Caitlyn Clark gets in as an alternate or as a bench player, cool, fine, great, whatever, awesome. I'm telling you, by this time, this situation, when it happens again for the Olympics, Caitlyn Clark in this league is going to look completely different. The Diana Taurasi's of the world will have been retired. They will have moved on, and her time will then be her time. And that's when you will get on Team USA.
I think as you guys hit the like button right here on the Monty Show.
Hey, Monty.
Please hit the like button while we discuss Caitlyn Clark not being on the Olympic team. I think the other part of this, though, if we are truth-telling about the WNBA, you don't like her because she walked in the door with more hype than the entire league has ever gotten. I think it is weird. It is almost like Taylor Swift. It is weird to me that there is so much hype around this gal. And she's a very average player in this league. She is a turnover machine right now. She is not the dominant force she was at Iowa, but I understand it. Everywhere she goes, tickets are sold. So how do you not put her on the team? When you are talking about a league in the WNBA that is desperate for growth and expansion internationally, how do you not put Caitlyn Clark on that team? Don't play her. Let her be the last player at the end of the bench. And they're saying they left her off the roster because they were worried about the reaction from her fan base. Who cares about the reaction from her fan base?
Yeah, that's an excuse.
You have to do what's best for the game. And right now, women's sports is in an absolute explosive growth period. All you are doing is putting the squelch on that. How do you not have her on the team, even if she's just going to sit there and not play a minute? Because fans will buy tickets to see her. Fans will show up at the hotel to see her. And I think they didn't put her on the team because I do think there is some jealousy and envy about her mass appeal. And she has mass appeal. And I think some of the veterans in this program don't like that.
Yeah.
To which I say, tough shit.
Yeah.
She's good for the game. You want to fly charters? Put Caitlyn Clark on the Olympic team because she will bring more eyes to the WNBA. Look at how many times her games have been moved from 4,000 seat venues to full stadiums. And they bring the largest, wasn't her crowd the other night, the 17,000 seat?
Yeah.
Wasn't that one of the largest crowds in the history of the WNBA?
I believe that's correct, yeah.
And you're not putting her on the team. You're cutting your nose off to spite your face, dude.
Well, and I also think what's interesting, too, is you compare the proposition of, hey, what's a bigger story? Is a bigger story that she's not on the team and that she is struggling and that, like they're not going to make the playoffs? Or would it be a bigger story to have her on the team but not play her and they go out and do whatever they do in the tournament?
And she's doing this on one of the worst teams in the WNBA. Now, they're not as bad as the Washington Mystics. The Indiana Fever are not good. And she's still drawing 17,000 people.
And I say, hey, credit to her. The thing that I think is unclear, maybe unclear is the wrong word, we're just not 100% certain on yet, is how she's handling being a pro in the big picture. Like, there are a lot of people who would tell you, hey, Caitlyn Clark's arrogant. Hey, Caitlyn Clark likes Caitlyn Clark a lot. Like, she basks in the spotlight of the media and all the endorsements and and what I say to that is, yeah, I'd be a little arrogant too if I was as good at basketball as she is, right? I mean, she's really good at basketball, but I also think you have to understand that she's having to both figure out how to play in this league, but also figure out how to handle herself off the court. Have you ever noticed, next time you see a video of Caitlyn Clark walking into the arena, you ever notice she's kind of that gal that's like a little bit awkward with it? She's like, you watch her walk in and she's not quite comfortable yet. She just is still trying to figure out that side of life as a WNBA player. Like, I'm telling you, this is someone who obsesses over the game and probably has maybe just not a high comfort level yet in her day-to-day life. And that would include,
can you?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that would include your relationship with your teammates. That's been so storied so far. That would include relationship with, the opposition, right? That we all saw the game where Ionescu was not having any of her BS, right? Where Ionescu was just going off against the Fever. We all saw that. So that's what I'm saying. Again, let's stop focusing on the Team USA quote unquote snub of Caitlyn Clark. And let's start focusing on, hey, this rookie season is just that. It's a rookie season where the league and Caitlyn Clark is riding the wave. And my only question is, what's going to happen when she's not a rookie anymore? Because if she flames, and I don't think she will, but if she were to flame, that'd be really rough for the league and for her. There is pressure on her to go out and turn into a big time player.
To which again I say, you don't think having her run scrimmages and practices with the best female players in the world, because this USA basketball roster is loaded, they're going to run through the tournament. You don't think it's good for the WNBA to have her practicing and gaming and developing with the women on that roster? It's just so ass backwards not to have her be the last player on that team. It's just not smart. Boston Mapes, a member of the Monty Show for 17 months. Let's go, Skippy.
Yeah.
It's not a snub. She'd be the Christian Laettner of the team. That's very true. But don't come back and complain about the lack of marketing and push like they have for years and then leave the golden goose at home.
And I tend to agree with that. And it's what's so difficult about the conversation, because I think you can make a case either way. It's good for her either way she would have gone, right? Hey, it's good for you not to be on the team because you're being told no for once in your life, and you're gonna get some semblance of an off season to build your body a little more, to get in the gym, like to work on your game, and to do that. But also, it would have been good for her to spend time around those players and form those relationships and compete against the best players in the world. So I see it both ways, but I tend to agree. You can't bitch and moan about not having popularity and then not have her on the team.
But it's not even the bitching and moaning about popularity. You finally have gotten everything that you've been asking for because of Caitlyn Clark, and you can't see the trees from the forest. So you leave her off the Olympic team because you're jealous, envious, frustrated by her cult following and promotion. But she's the one that's delivering you all of the media and the PR you've been asking for.
Right.
Yet it doesn't make a lot of sense. You're exactly right, Mapes. Tanner Plummer, a member of the show for 17 months. Wow, look at that. Star Wars sucks. I agree with you finally,
dude, great
Tanner.
take, dude.
That's exactly. Star Wars does suck, and I am proud of you for maturing to the point where you can see that.
Oh, look, the comment updated. Donovan McNabb is mid. Dude, he's come around.
Wow.
Way
to edit your comment.
Thanks, Tanner.
Big Daddy Magic, the only monster Monty recognizes is Victor.
Well, there you go. Old reliable.
Can never talk about anything basketball without Big Daddy Magic bringing up Victor Wembanyama, who has, okay. Clark does need more downtime, Mape says. She went straight from Iowa to the WNBA. They are milking it right now without burning her up with the Olympics too. She'll have plenty of chances. But the WNBA and women's basketball won't have plenty of chances. Because the heat that she brings, you just have to do everything you can. Do you understand the international stage that you get in the Olympics? And even if she doesn't play, Caitlyn Clark signing autographs for young female players from the Pacific Rim, South America, Europe.
The whole world, bro.
Can you imagine and the Chinese are basketball crazy. Can you imagine a young Chinese basketball fan that's a girl meeting Caitlyn Clark for the first time?
Yeah.
I mean, think about how transformative that would be for a young lady in a basketball crazy country, a young Brazilian girl in a basketball crazy country, a young Argentinian. You can't even quantify it. You just can't. Noel Ramirez, bounce house. People are acting like she's going to win games just because more people are watching. WTF, how has it gone lately? People are watching her and she's still losing. She is not the reason the Fever are losing. Is she the monster she was at Iowa? No. Competition's much better in the WNBA. But she has struggled, and you can see she's out of gas. So if you put her at the end of the bench on an Olympic roster where she practices and plays and is influenced by the best female players in the world, only good is going to come out of that for the WNBA. And then we never have to have Brittany Griner arrested in Russia again.
Right.
Because what's good for the league is good for the player, which makes them more money and creates more opportunities. It is what it is. OG Gary, I agree with Jake. She needs to have the Kobe rookie moment. She does. And I was very fortunate to be around the Lakers when Kobe shot air balls and when Kobe was not good. And there needs to be, and this offseason might be it for Caitlyn Clark. She needs to completely transform each and every one of her skills and just take them to a much higher level. Her ball handling is not good enough. Her paint mid-range game right now in the WNBA is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And her stamina, she's got to get stronger and she's got to have more stamina to compete at this level. And I think an offseason will do that for her. People are setting her up to fail. I don't disagree with that because you can only go down from where she's at. Let's get the likes going, guys. Yeah, hit the like button. We've had over 1,000 views and we have 30 likes.
Hit the like button, dude.
Let's
Come
go. Mike Smith, if they are not careful, all this positive exposure for her in the WNBA could turn into overkill and have a boomerang effect. I don't think that's possible. I believe that Katie Clark,
Thank you.
is going to do what needs to be done to dominate this league because she is just so flipping competitive. The only thing that will stop her is injury. That's it, which is, again, why I keep saying I think this downtime would be good for her individually, bad for the WNBA, bad for women's basketball globally. You know, Dak at a Tubbs, sporting competitions, especially the Olympics, aren't popularity contests. If she's not good enough, then she's not good enough. I agree with Jake here.
Well, I don't know that I said she's not good enough. What I said is that there's some dynamics at play that make it so that right now it's probably better that she's not on the team.
Women's basketball, in particular women's basketball, needs a push globally. She's the iconic star to do that.
But I don't know that, I agree with that, but I don't know that the people currently in Team USA basketball are as committed to that global push as they are committed to just here and now trying to go out and win a medal.
I think people in the USA basketball program have a lot of vitriol and jealousy for her.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the head coach of the team is on the record saying the WNBA is over publicizing her. You don't think that played a role in not having her on the roster?
And so then the question becomes, obviously, okay, what does, what do we do with FIBA? What do we do with the next go around? Do we have the same head coach at that time? How many of the current players on the roster are going to retire? Because I'm telling you, that's going to happen by the time
there's a lot of older women on this roster.
Yeah.
There are no young women on this roster.
Yeah. So
very veteran laden team.
Tubinsky, I'm not saying she's not good enough. I think she's plenty good enough to be on the team. I think it's much more about, player, personnel, head coach dynamic. And I also think that the powers that be are not stupid. They recognize this is also a long-term investment in the league. Like, she's in the league, she's playing, she's getting the push. Let's not burn her out. Let's instead give her that chance to get a summer off or get a window, a 90-day window where she can work on her game. And
that's propaganda. That's propaganda.
I don't think it's propaganda.
I think they're jealous of her.
It's propaganda.
I think that's not why she's not on the roster. I think my firm belief is she's not on the roster because there's jealousy of her. And these veteran players are at a point in their career, very much to your point, where this is their last run. And I think they would view her as a distraction and she would take attention off of them. And I think there's a big part of that because there's no doubt that the WNBA is the best women's league in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And she is demonstrating that. She would thrive in an Olympic environment on the floor. But I don't even advocate for her to be playing. She's not good enough compared to the women on this roster. Again, Ionescu and Taurasi are the two that she would probably be competing with playing time for. She's not better than either one of them. And I'm not choosing Caitlyn Clark over either one of them. She should be the last lady on the roster. She should be the last player on the end of the bench for Team USA. I don't even think it's a discussion, because that's what's best for the women's game, and that's what's best for the WNBA. And I think there's clearly jealousy of her.
Mm-hmm.
There's clearly frustration of her. And you look at the way she's been treated, like on the floor, the physicality thing, that's a non-starter. She's not being treated on the basketball floor any different than any other underling would be treated. She's not big enough, she's not strong enough, and she's not skilled enough in this league. And they're going to push her around. She's a rookie.
Yeah.
Is what it is. WNBA upgraded those to flagrants, great. But that's where it ends. She doesn't need special treatment on the floor. But you also shouldn't be kicking yourself in the balls to keep her off the roster, because I feel like that's what you're doing, in my opinion. Fat Jesus. But if she plays on the Olympics and is a turnover machine and only average, how does that bring more eyes to the WNBA? Because she would not be a turnover machine and average in international play.
Not on that roster.
And I don't know how to describe this other than to say, I expect them to win their games by 25 or 30 points. They're superior talent-wise. It is almost the dream team model if you go look at it. She is struggling in a league of the best women's players in the world, who are all bigger and stronger than she is, and more skilled and more rested. If she showed up in Paris, my guess is she would be better than any international player you're going to see. Just about any other player.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's doing things in Indiana. These turnovers are very much hero ball because she doesn't have anybody to play with. So she's dribbling into triple and quadruple team. The other night, she turned the ball over twice, dribbling into four other defenders at the elbow. Like, you can't do that. The truth is that I don't watch the WNBA. Yeah, which is
just
I think
Caitlyn
a lot
Clark,
of people. Yeah,
which is fair.
I think there's a lot of people who don't watch WNBA basketball. They watch Caitlyn Clark. And Ion has done a really good job. Scripps Ion has done a really good job featuring her, which is why their TV ratings have been massive. Tanner, I'm probably getting canceled for this, but I don't care about the WNBA. You're not.
I mean, I don't think it's not like uncouth to say you don't care about the WNBA. I just think, what you have to understand is that, first of all, I don't think we see this a ton, at least in my experience with Team USA, generally speaking, men's, women's. Like, usually Team USA is a pretty straightforward. Hey, there's a list of guys or gals who, are going to qualify for this, who are obvious choices. And we're just going to talk about the last like three people who may or may not have got in. Like, usually that's how it goes. But this is different because she, for most folks like Tanner, is the face of the league already. So if you said, just from a popularity standpoint, not a skill or career standpoint, hey, we're not putting LeBron on Team USA in his rookie season, people would have lost their mind.
Yeah.
People would have freaked out.
Well, and I think very much to the point, Caitlyn Clark is the only WNBA player many people know.
Yeah.
Many people. People aren't stupid. Self-love is not arrogance. Just because you lack it doesn't mean you got to label someone else. What do you mean?
Yeah,
by
what
that?
are you talking about, dude?
What did I miss?
Yeah, what are we?
What did I miss on that? Big Daddy Magic. Caitlyn Clark is the gym of death of the WNBA bust.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on.
Yeah, next comment.
Tanner, it comes off as arrogance, Gary.
What does?
Okay. Caitlyn Clark is the gymmer of the WNBA. But I guarantee you the Russian kid coming to be with you is going to be an NBA all-star for a decade. Caitlyn Clark's not a bust, bro. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, what do you mean?
What are you talking about? No idea. Noel Ramirez. Let's be honest. This hate she's getting from other WNBA players is a blessing in disguise for Clark. If it wasn't for that, everyone would be talking about her struggles. I think a lot of people are talking about her
I think
struggles.
that's all anyone's talking about. I think, and again, that's what happens when you're a great player. People are going to point out, oh, well, hey, like, you're struggling. What's going on? You forget how to play basketball?
Yep. Greg Hawkins, hello. OG Gary says Greg. Dakota says morning, Greg. How does Nike feel about the Caitlin Clark Olympic snub? Missed an opportunity to market her on a true world stage and get an early return on their investment. I don't know. I doubt Nike would make a statement on that. My guess is, I think it's such a double-edged sword. This is going to be a really good time for her to be down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she has not had this much time off, combined with Indiana being bad, not making the Olympic team. She's going to have some time off.
Yeah.
Which is wild because that just doesn't happen. It's going to be a real bad look when Katie is on commercials during the Olympics, but isn't on any of the rosters.
Hey, that's business, bro.
That's true.
That's business.
That's true. That is true. Mike Phillips, the roster has plenty of players who are good enough. They don't have anyone who is famous enough. That's true. That's true. Dude that abides. Hypothetical, how damaging would it be to the WNBA if Clark somehow busts? Terrible. That would be horrendous. Mike Smith, they are jealous of her piss poor play thus far in the pros. I think they are jealous of her piss poor play, and yet still she is the number one draw in the WNBA.
Yes.
And it hasn't been piss poor. She's averaging, I think, just about 17 points a game. It's not who she was in college. That's what's missing. She's not playing poorly. She's just not the girl we saw at Iowa.
Yeah.
The player we saw at Iowa. You know. Dakota Tubbs, thank you, Monty, for admitting she's not good enough to be on the roster. She's not better than anybody that she would be in the guard pool because it's positional. She's not better than, again, Ionescu or whoever you want to point to. She should be on the roster. It's what's best for women's basketball, which is, whether you want to own it or not, that's an important factor here. There's just no doubt about it.
100%.
Hey, playa, remember this Olympics victory will be the stuff. Dude, sometimes the Victor stuff just gets to be too much.
Yeah.
The Victor stuff is too much right now. Mike Smith, she earned the hype in college. Now she has to earn it in the pros. I don't disagree with that. Monty is right. She should be on the team, but on the bench. Yeah, that's it. Sit her there like a shiny object on your dresser. That's it. UW fan Jim Roma Dunze, the league might want her on the team for marketing, but the players won't want to screw over someone to give her a spot. Could be true. I don't disagree with that. The WNBA stars have made it clear they don't want Clark around, period. She is a free target. So J2H is right. Go get better, but the risk is you destroy the chance for growth you have right now. Yeah. I don't know that the flame will go out.
The flame for the game? Or
the flame for women's basketball, the run that women's basketball is on right now. Because we saw, again, to your point, women's softball, Oklahoma, that flame's out. That's over now.
Yeah.
When has Caitlyn Clark's flame been out? I don't recall over the last 18 months her flame ever going out.
Right.
And you had a chance to run that through, really August. And that just went away now.
I think what's an interesting question for Caitlyn Clark going forward is, what's it going to be like for her to have to, sort of build back up that attention? Like, obviously, if she's playing basketball, there's a certain sect that's going to watch her. That's just, she's big enough. She's built that. But I do think that it's now time to move on from Caitlyn Clark, the college player, and start that next chapter of like, who are you going to be as a pro? Because I kind of feel like that's sort of her battle right now. Like, college Caitlyn Clark is chasing pro Caitlyn Clark into the league, and she's not been given that same breathe just to the league that we give to pretty much every rookie, right? Like we give rookies in the NBA and the WNBA
it's the W, it's the W.
Yeah, and the W and the dub, we give them the benefit of the doubt. And so that's why I say, like, next year, because she's going to get this time off, next season, I would expect 20 points a night. I would expect a better individual player. Now, that doesn't mean that the Fever are going to do a damn thing next year as a team.
Probably not.
But I would expect her as an individual player to no longer take getting pushed around. I would expect a more aggressive, a player that's got a chip on her shoulder coming out with something to prove, sort of resetting that mindset.
The other thing I find so interesting is she has reportedly turned down massive international offers. Like she has, because the international game for women happens during the NBA season. And the money can be quite good. And she's according to what people are saying, she's summarily turned down offers, especially from the Spanish Women's League. She's not going to go play overseas.
And I think for her, there's no reason for her to do that because she's got so much endorsement happening. You're making enough money where you're not necessarily having to worry about money anymore. And she's going to have those offers every single year for the rest of her career. All Caitlyn Clark needs to worry about right now is ensuring the product. And what do I mean by that? I mean ensuring that she gets better, ensuring that when the Tarasis of the world and the old guard moves along and they're out of the league, that she's the face of the league and continues to be.
But again, to piss more people off, like I said last week, I think people like Angel Reese owe any fandom they have to Caitlyn Clark.
Completely agree.
And yet, the other thing I worry about is her mental health, because we're seeing this more now and I don't know that we've ever seen mental health be so front and center with young people ever. She is in that Gen Z world where mental health is a big deal, dude. And when you're under the stress that she is under, man, I just worry. I worry about that a lot. San Diego State Glenn, if Isaiah Thomas can fall victim to player sentiment and get snubbed from Team USA, well, why the surprise? Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Because I don't think that Isaiah Thomas is a fair thing here. Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan were foes.
And Isaiah Thomas was a POS. Is a POS.
Yeah, like it's different. Like Caitlyn Clark's not a bad person. Like, yeah, is she a little arrogant? Sure, but I'd be arrogant too. Like, I don't blame her for that.
Yeah, you hate her when she's not on your team.
Yeah.
There's no question
Isaiah Thomas is just not a good person. Like
James, Oak State James.
Bro, rough day for you. I mean, you were 0 for 10 yesterday, bro.
The comment section was amazing. Monty is right about the bubble championships. Well, thank you for joining the show. Good morning.
Appreciate you, James.
Fat Jesus, love me some, quote, self-love. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
James, Caitlyn Clark had the best response. She said, I have to work harder, and that's a goal of mine. Little Katie Clark. Tanner, I don't know. My main area is college football stadiums. Okay. OG Gary, who is also an Indiana Fever fan. I believe that's his favorite team above LSU and Syracuse. You said Caitlyn Clark loves Caitlyn Clark, and that's why she said those things to her coach and they are put off by it. So I'm saying self-love is not arrogance. I don't know if you were at the level that Caitlyn Clark, Michael Jordan, Kobe, whoever the greatest athletes are, Scotty Scheffler. And if you don't believe that you're the best mofo in the game, you can't play at their level. I've been around too many guys and Tim Lincecum is a great example of this. Tim Lincecum, from the beginning to the end, whether he believed it or not, always said, I'm one of the best pitchers in baseball. I just have to, like when he was struggling at the end of his career, I was fortunate enough to talk to him after every one of his starts and had so many opportunities to stand at his locker and just chat with him after a game. And he would say, it's here. I just got to get back to it. They always believe. Kobe Bryant never wavered, not one time. Always believed that he is the best player in the world. Caitlyn Clark, if she doesn't, I'd be shocked if she doesn't believe she's the best player in the world. Now, there are some one-offs of guys who are like, I'm an imposter. Holy cow, I can't believe. That guy exists. It's not LeBron. It's not Kobe. I doubt it's Caitlyn Clark, right? I doubt it's Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
I doubt it's the gambler, right? I doubt it. Like the best player in any sport doesn't have imposter syndrome.
Yeah, Jonte Porter's he's struggling, right?
Jonte Porter.
You said the gambler.
I wasn't talking about Jonte Porter. You're an idiot.
I'm gonna guess Shohei Ohtani. I'm gonna guess that Ohtani rolls up to the yard every day.
Who's Ohtani?
The gambler.
Oh, the gambler.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess that Ohtani rolls up to Dodger Stadium every day in whatever car he chooses to own.
Whatever car he drives with his winnings.
Yeah, with his winnings. and says, yeah, today's going to be a good day. I don't have to worry about money. Let's just hit this round ball and we'll be fine. I'm sure that's how he looks at it.
Take the over. Anyway, OG Gary, if Caitlyn knows she's God tier, then good. You have to be at that level. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it at all. Like it just, to me, my opinion is, if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you?
Totally agree, dude.
It's not arrogance. And I think people who don't perform at a very high level don't understand it. And I don't care if you are a heavy equipment operator, if you clean douche nozzles for a living. I just don't care what you do for a living. If you do not believe you are the baddest MFer on the planet, you're doing it wrong. And I think if you do not wake up every day and say to yourself, man, I am thrilled to have just woken up, I'm kicking ass today, I think you're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you are Caitlyn Clark, Aaron Judge, I don't care. Like, I love what Connor McDavid said last night. They just got their air whoop again.
Yeah, that sucked.
They gave up 4 straight goals. Lost. The Stanley Cup finals are over. 92%. You go up 2-0, you win the Stanley Cup 92% of the time. Somebody forgot to tell Connor McDavid that, because after the game, he said, we're a problem going home. Like, we're going home. Series isn't over. It's Kobe sitting up on the dais being up. Job's not done. Job's not finished. Like, yeah. You have to have that mentality. Always. And so many people don't. Wet Blanket, who I'm sure was thrilled with our show yesterday. Having white guilt isn't a reason to keep her off of Team USA.
Why don't you go ahead and define white guilt for me, please? Please. Why don't you go ahead and try to explain the stupidity of this comment?
White guilt. Always good to see you, Wet Blanket. Damian Fowler, she has got to get stronger. She does not have the body for this league right now. No, that's very true. Chrissy, hello. College record might not stand. Juju averaging 30 points a game. And I think Caitlyn Clark would tell you, thrilled if somebody's going to take down her numbers, because it's going to be tough. James, the professional sports basketball arena concession guru. Even if Caitlyn Clark never wins a playoff game in the WNBA, she is still the all-time scorer in women's college basketball. Okay. Jonte Porter, according to Tabinski. What a waste. Truth.
Did you see, too, that there are several people that they've got on the hook in connection to Jonte? That there are a bunch of people he was working with.
Rico case inbound.
Yeah. Like,
and listen, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, and as Mike Smith will tell you here, I'm fat.
Well, and you eat a lot of fast food and you're a dying Mormon. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah. And I'm a White Sox fan.
Right.
Go BYU. Right. My point is, how did you think you weren't getting caught? Even if you're the gambler in Los Angeles, did you think, the Major League Baseball cleared you? You think we don't know better? You think you can play fantasy sports and bet your props and you're not going to get caught?
You think we don't recognize the incentive that Major League Baseball has to clear you? Come on, dude.
I am amazed at these idiot professional athletes who have got I mean, quite literally millions of dollars. And the fucking Tom Brady is building this behemoth home in Brentwood, California. You could be that, or you could be banned for life, you dick. Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Set for the rest of your life financially, or play stupid fantasy sports as a professional athlete?
Can you imagine that? You're quite literally set for life. Like, you don't have to worry about, like, hey, how we paying the mortgage? Like, how we doing this or doing that? You literally don't have to wonder if you can afford things anymore.
I play for the Toronto Raptors. That's all. Say less. You're set for life. Right? I want to, Pete Rose, I want to understand it. This is why I don't feel bad for Pete Rose. It's the one rule in baseball. It's the one rule you can't break.
I think it's the one rule in sports you can't break.
Yeah. You know, Jimmy Dickface from the Padres, I don't feel bad for you. I don't.
Oh.
If you're fixing games, I don't feel bad for you. If you lost your entire fortune to fixing games, I don't feel bad for you. If you're an illegal bookmaker who, you know, supposedly was involved in a huge fraud on the gambler, I don't feel bad for you. Shohei, I don't feel bad for you.
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.
Ekpe, your mama, I don't feel bad for you. I just don't. I don't feel bad for them. You have everything that anybody could want.
And yet it's not enough.
Phil Mickelson, you're a dick. I don't feel bad for you.
But at least with Phil, he is just a buffoon. He didn't gamble on himself in golf on the PGA Tour.
I don't feel bad for him in any way, shape. I don't feel bad for any of these dudes in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
At all. Real quick on Charles Barkley. You guys have heard about this, right? The NBA is close to a new TV deal.
Yeah.
It could be $76 billion over 11 years. It is likely to include ESPN, NBC, and Amazon Prime Sports, but not likely to include TNT,
right?
Who has an option to match any offer, but it's not likely they will. So, in all likelihood, the NBA on TNT is not a thing anymore. Okay. I like Ernie.
Mm-hmm.
I like Kenny Smith. But imagine my surprise last night. I'm watching the Stanley Cup final on what is a really important night for the Edmonton Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
And ESPN goes to the intermission, and who walks onto the set? Charles Barkley. I get Steve Levy. I get Messier. I get
PK.
Yeah, PK Subban, who was, I think, at one point pounding Lindsey Vonn.
Right.
And I get Charles Barkley.
Why?
We're trying to have a conversation about hockey where Mark Messier makes a phenomenal point that the goal that Edmonton got was a mistake by a defenseman who pinched down.
Yep.
And Charles Barkley has to interrupt and interject and say nothing about hockey. Why does Charles Barkley have to be on every flipping broadcast? CBS did it with golf. NHL on ESPN. The NCAA tournament. We don't need Charles Barkley on every flipping sport.
Well, and he did the match too, right? Is that
yes?
Yeah, he did the match.
He was
too.
A commentator on the match.
Like everything.
And he's been on CBS, the NFL on CBS, and I don't understand Charles Barkley and the greatness of Charles Barkley.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. I think hockey is unique. I don't think that you can just throw anybody on hockey and it works. I think that
No, you can't.
Hockey is a very different sport. You have to understand the dynamics at play. And it's not as easy to understand as hoop or the NFL or hell, even Major League Baseball. And for that reason alone, I was very surprised that Charles Barkley is sitting on the intermission set. Now, you want to say, if you want to go down the Caitlyn Clark route and you want to say, hey, Charles Barkley's on the set because they need more eyes. Okay, fine, I guess. But I guess we're willing to just sell ourselves out for anything these days. We're willing to say, yeah, let's just throw Buddy on an NHL set because, yeah, we need more eyes, right? Like, I don't understand why any network, it's not just ESPN or CBS, like, everybody seems to think, hey, Charles Barkley's on the set, people are watching. I'm telling you what, I turned that stuff off. I turned it off. I went and did a couple things, and I came back for the puck drop at the start of the intermission.
It was so frustrating. And we got a resounding edition of Oh Canada.
Yeah, like, it was actually a really good pregame. Like, pregame was good. Anthem, Oh Canada, like, the whole deal. Perfect.
Oh Canada is amazing, by the way.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh Canada, screw Charles Bark. Anyway, I hope that Charles Barkley does not end up at ESPN.
Probably will.
I am begging you not to hire him.
He's an ESPN or a CBS guy. He would fit well with the CBS crowd.
Great. They don't have the NBA on CBS. Screw him.
Yeah.
My guess is he'll end up at NBC or wherever, but it's so disappointing to me.
Yeah.
Monty, did you talk about Adrian Bronner getting knocked out? Yeah, he lost. Ooh,
Dude, that was gnar.
it was. Mike Phillips, gambling issues in professional sports are only going to get worse. It's way too tangled up in the marketing and promotion of the leagues. It is.
Yeah, but I still think it's a simple proposition. If you're an athlete playing in the league, don't bet on the league. Really, don't bet on sports at all.
If they are getting threatened by debts to Italian mafia to fix games, well, don't have debt with Italian mafia.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
You won't feel bad for them. I will not. I won't. Tabinski says Charles in charge. Charles only works well with Shaq and them. Totally agree. Barkley is okay with NBA or college basketball. Leave him off other sports. He sucks on college basketball.
Yeah, he just doesn't know the players.
I mean, he sucks on college basketball. They paying him $10 million. They got to recoup it somehow. ESPN isn't paying him a penny. Why are we putting him on the NHL?
Yeah.
Like, it makes me crazy. Charles is going to end up with Amazon. Great.
Cool. That's probably better for everybody involved.
Oh, Wet Blanket would like to explain white guilt.
Oh.
The feeling of shame and remorse some white people experience when they recognize the legacy of racism. And we're talking about basketball. White guilt has nothing to do with...
Like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Go back and watch the game tape.
Help me.
You come back tomorrow, dude.
Better yet, go to Panda Express and get a burrito.
Dude, I haven't been to Panda Express in, I don't know, maybe once in my life.
I'm trying to think if I've ever eaten at a Panda Express. I must have at some point. Must have. And as somebody that is a orange chicken fiend, like if I could just have orange chicken every day, I would. This is not something that I'm interested in.
No.
Now, I will candidly sit here, as Mike Smith will tell you I'm fat. So as a defined by Mike Smith fat person, I would eat this burrito.
I finally tried the Panda Express burrito. This burrito is stuffed with fried rice, chow mein, and a couple of big scoops of orange chicken and a little sweet and sour sauce on the side. You can get it at the Panda Express Innovation Kitchen in Pasadena. It was really, really good, just a little bit messy.
It looks good. I have to admit, it looks good.
Stay hard.
Are you out your goddamn mind?
Yeah, it looks good.
I'm sorry, did you say an orange chicken burrito? Sign me up. Send it over.
Yeah.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would. That looks so good to me.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be good for you. But if you're going to eat that thing, you got to forget about if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
You just got to pound that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I am here to tell you that orange chicken, what did she say? Orange chicken.
I finally tried the Panda Express burrito. This burrito is stuffed with fried rice, chow mein, and a couple of big scoops of orange chicken and a little sweet and sour sauce on the side. You can get it at the Panda Express Innovation Kitchen in Pasadena. It was really, really good, just a little bit messy.
Sauce on oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's gas, dude.
Okay, so in the comments section, are you here for the orange chicken burrito. Darren Ingram Golf. Well, you can have orange chicken every day. Well, Darren, that would not help my slice, which I don't have anymore, by the way.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this. We'll talk about you in a minute, sir. Sweet and sour chicken and rice in a burrito. Right? Sign me up. That is so good.
Yes. Yes.
There's a little, and I can't remember what it's, Red Star, or there's a little Chinese joint by my house that has the best orange chicken.
Yes, it does.
Oh my God. It is life-changing. Panda Express burrito hard pass. Now, this is actually not incorrect. I don't know that I could bring myself to it'd have to be delivered. I cannot see myself walking into a Panda Express.
No way.
Like that. I
can't lower myself to that level. Can't do it.
That stench never comes off.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Right? So
that's rough.
I might struggle with that a little bit.
Yeah.
I might struggle with that a little bit. Noel Ramirez. When you had a whole segment called Who He Play for TNT, you know he's not up to date with the NBA. Okay. Chris C. I get orange chicken and white rice or fried rice. Why would I get a burrito from a Chinese restaurant? Well, you're looking at a dude who gets a chicken burrito everywhere he goes.
Because the average American wants a chicken burrito, and it's better for your P&L.
Did you just call yourself average?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because one of your favorite foods is a chicken burrito.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yes.
I think that this is a gimmick to bring more people in.
100%.
And it's smart marketing.
Yeah. Yep. Just like Cafe Rio rolling out bowls. Right?
Yes.
The same thing.
Not that I would eat one of those.
Yeah.
I think this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't like $20 Chinese food? In all honesty.
Yeah, I think everybody does.
And again, I will just continue to say, if you put shrimp fried rice with extra shrimp in front of me, I'm going to eat it.
100%.
If you the orange chicken is so good. It is so tasty. It's so good. Let's see. Monty got too much fat between the ears. Also, Chinese food wrapped in Mexican culture.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Orange chicken burrito, America. Exactly.
Yeah.
San Diego State Glen. Yes.
Yes, dude.
Taylor Smith. Yes. Orange chicken burrito. Yes. Yay. So of the 500 plus people watching this show right now, nobody has said no to this burrito.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. It's brilliant. It's perfect.
Nobody has said no. It
doesn't suck.
And here specifically in Salt Lake City, we do not have a great food scene.
Yeah.
Now, it's a lie because people will tell you, oh, Salt Lake City, it's a foodie town. No, it's not. I was just in LA 2 weekends ago. That's a food town.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Taco Surf. That's a food town.
Right.
But no, absolutely not. This Salt Lake City is not a food town.
Yeah.
You either got to go to Park City or where you're not getting. But so if Panda Express rolls out an orange chicken burrito, we will flock to it in Utah.
Yes.
Chow mein on a hoagie with teriyaki sauce is pretty good. Why would you bring that up? That sounds so good. Now I need $20 Chinese food.
No, you don't.
Need is the wrong word. Need is the wrong word.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Orange chicken and slice. See what he did there?
Yeah.
So my golf game is actually.
First of all.
Yes.
Canyons, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Canyons has been really good. I've
course
played
in great shape.
Opening weekend, we got rained on a little bit. But I'm actually pretty happy with how I played this weekend. Shot a 79 on Saturday, regressed into an 87 on Sunday.
It's garbage.
Mainly because I could not, for the life of me, hit a second shot on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Just forget it. Don't even. Just pick up drive the ball down the fairway, pick it up, and then head to the green and just take your 2-shot penalty.
Right.
I could not hit a second shot on Sunday to save my life. Saturday was that golfer's dream where you just every drive, like we've been working on the ability to draw the ball which means a right to left turn with the driver. And I finally can do it on a pretty regular basis. And there's about 10 holes at Canyons where if you can hit a draw, you're in good shape. The third hole, I mean, arguably the first hole, but like the third hole, what I call the gondola hole, like,
there are several.
There are
17.
several. 16, the par 3, 16 at Canyons, 16, I always talk about.
Yeah.
I hit a lovely pitching wedge.
Yeah.
On a draw, pin high on Sunday.
Yeah.
One of the only great shots I had. Right? But I will tell you, if I had orange chicken for breakfast on Sunday, I think I would have played better.
And it's facts, dude. It's facts. And an orange chicken burrito.
It impacted my golf swing.
Yeah.
We tell you every day on the show, Canyons Golf, the official golf course of the Monty Show. And I always call it a golf club. It's not exclusive. It's open to the public. Mountain golf is the best golf.
Yes.
And I tell you every single day, drive up to Park City. It's worth the extra 10 minutes from the bottom of the canyon because you get resort style service and experience. You get lush fairways. You get well manicured fringes. You get greens. Now the greens at Canyons are challenging. There's no question about that. But I know this is shocking for golf courses in Utah. The ball will actually roll on the green at Canyons. And it's what I always talk about with places like Mountain Dell. I'm paying premium prices for really crappy tee boxes and greens. And it makes me crazy. Your golf is already viewed as an expensive sport. And this is what I love about Canyons. Super affordable.
Mm-hmm.
During the week, you're getting super affordable rounds of golf and on the weekends, it's just Canyons is very popular, so it's booked a lot on the weekends, but you get resort style golf for muni golf course prices. And I love it. You get really good service. The staff at Canyons goes out of their way to make sure that you have everything that you need. I talked about it yesterday on the show, the cart girl yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
What hole is that? That par 3, the 8th hole.
Yeah.
At Canyons, they have a bathroom set up there and they have a concession stand set up there. The girl was super friendly. She's like, I asked her for a Gatorade Zero. She's like, I'm out, but I'll have one. I will have one for you up at the turn at 13. Come on up. I'll make sure that they restock it. We'll put it on ice right now. And by the time you get there, it'll be nice and cold. And sure enough, there it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get that higher level of service for the same price. So why wouldn't you go to Park City, get up to Canyons Resort, go to Canyons Golf, tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. It is unbelievable to watch the ball fly.
Oh, it's majestic.
On Sunday, the best part about Sunday, for me anyway, was the 18th hole is this raised tee box where you get a full picture of the green that you're hitting into and just hitting a bomb on Sunday. Oh man, just watching the ball fly.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few things better than that. I will even say on 17, where I terribly missed a putt that could have been a birdie, wound up being a par. I hit a wedge right up. There's nothing like watching the ball fly in the mountains with deer. We've seen a bear this year at Canyons. We've seen elk, deer, like the wildlife is great. It's just a really good experience. Canyons Golf, the official golf club of the Monty Show. Midweek Coug says instead of flour tortillas, would want mushu pancakes.
Okay, bro.
Now
what
you're
are you
just
talking about, man?
now you're just raising your
you're
A1C.
Dude, we're making orange chicken burritos. Don't F it up. Okay? Don't mess it up.
Which is one of the best TikTok and Instagram accounts, which I don't remember his name. Mike Smith, I'm not one for sweet and sour chicken. Really?
Oh my God, dude.
Oh, I love sweet and sour chicken. However, chicken burritos with rice would be okay.
Well, isn't rice a prerequisite of a chicken burrito?
And isn't that what you're getting? And now it's orange chicken.
Yeah.
But you're getting chicken and some rice.
Come on, man.
Mike, you and I are usually pretty well aligned on food. I'm surprised you don't like sweet and sour chicken because I love it. The food at Park City is so good. It is, man. You can find anything you want in Park City. And one of the things I love, again, about Canyons has a village. They have a Mexican restaurant. Mrs. Monty loves it. And there's nothing better than staying in the village at Canyons on a Friday night, playing twilight golf Friday night, and then having dinner Friday night, getting a great night of sleep, waking up and playing 18 on Saturday morning at Canyons.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. Canyons has the best chicken burritos. Jake, is that true?
No, but they do have the best turkey sandwiches. I can tell you that right now.
That saved us on Saturday.
Yeah.
We got a turkey sandwich at the turn, and that actually saved us. Maverick chicken burritos are gas. See, now have we ever had a chicken burrito at Maverick?
Once.
The only burrito I usually get at Maverick consistently is the breakfast burrito. And I really don't do that anymore.
Off the roller.
I had let you go on that now. I had given you the pay. So if you don't know the story, Jake goes back to Kansas City with his beloved.
Mm-hmm.
They go to a QT,
mm-hmm.
or was it an AMPM?
QT.
And he eats taquitos off of a roller.
This is your beloved.
That is so disgusting. I'll never forgive you for that, but I had moved past the fact that you reached your arm in and ate food off of a roller.
And it sucks.
I had let it go, but now you bring it back up.
We show up.
Here I am over here eating sweet potatoes and 93.7 turkey. You're eating off of a roller in Kansas City.
Hey, 2 holes.
Do you know how dirty that roller? When the last time you think they disinfected that?
It actually, in fairness to them, it was clean.
Jimmy, the construction worker, sweated on that roller like a month ago.
Right.
And you ate that sweat on your taquito. What's the taquito good?
It was.
Oh, dude, it was gas.
It was. And they had some ranch. It was awesome. Dude, you can't seriously be sitting here mocking me for having ranch with a chicken taquito.
Off of a roller.
You literally love chicken taquitos at home in the air fryer with ranch.
Because they're not off a roller.
Right. They're
AM,
out of the
PM.
packaging. It was a QT, not an AMPM.
Same thing. Let's see. Mike Smith. He's not red-assed about it. He's ribbing and having fun with it. Oh God, what did I do?
What are we doing?
I'm not. If you're talking about me, I'm not being. I am not a red-ass about anything that might. Do you mean the fat thing? We were talking about fast food yesterday, and I said that I don't eat fast food, which I pretty much don't. Right? Like I think Jake would attest.
No,
I pretty much.
He doesn't.
My fast food is Cafe Rio chicken tacos.
Yeah.
Like I don't eat Jack. I don't eat McDonald's. Like I just don't. And Mike said, as a fellow fat guy, which was a backhanded compliment, hey, fatty.
Don't lie to me.
So I've been joking with Mike about that. I'm not mad about it at all. Oh, boy. James has given us $5. Now, I'm not going to read the comment.
Dude.
I'm not going to.
Don't screw it up, bro. Please, bro.
Food or Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State?
This is Mike Gundy. This is something about the mullet being back and Texas sucking.
That's exactly what it is. We're about to start a 3-day day 3 of conference. Great show today. I did make a video to respond to yesterday's comments about fan expectations. Just can't let it go. Mike Gundy's a disappointment, at least according to the hype. Mike Gundy's a good coach who's won consistently, but isn't going to win you a championship. And isn't one of the best coaches in the country. Sorry,
bud.
Dakota Tubbs. Jake is doing what I do in Kansas City. Ooh, your fellow communist.
Yummy.
We take pride in our rollers here.
Fat.
Okay. Taylor Smith. I worked at a QT. The roller food is unreal. Okay. But
first team all roller. It's your time in the comment section.
As a Ute fan, I need you to come through on this. Taylor, how often are those rollers cleaned? Because I'm not buying.
Dude, it has to be daily. It's a food thing.
You can't tell me Jimmy at the QT is like, all right, oh boy, what time is it? Oh, 3:00, time to disinfect the rollers.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
I'm not buying that.
I love how the rollers has turned into this thing where it's got its personality of its own.
Roller country. Let's roll. Gary? Gary, where are you? Ogden, I think. Are you telling me you eat off of rollers? I need a roll call. Who eats off of rollers in convenience stores? No, I won't. I want to know who eats off of rollers at convenience stores. I want to know who I need
want
to
it.
block, because there's no way you can't reasonably make the argument that you're like, oh, I feel good about this.
Get a fast pass for Douche Mountain because you're a douche.
I'm hungry. How about a hot dog off the roller, Ma?
Monty.
Hey, Monty.
Macaque.
Hey, Monty. No, hey, Monties. We don't even eat off the rollers on this show.
The rollers, bro. That's BS.
Boston Mapes. Whether the roller food is good or bad, you just got to pound it. Cover it.
Macaque.
Dude, put lots of ranch on that thing. Cover up the bacteria.
Bruh.
So Jake is making cereal for breakfast yesterday morning. And he pulls out his bag. What's the name of that cereal?
Okay.
I shouldn't say he pulls out
bro, come on.
Stay home.
My bad.
Come on, dude.
He takes out
Heritage
the
Flakes.
Heritage Flakes.
Hold on, bro. Like,
My bad. Pulls out his Heritage Flakes,
Yeah.
right? And he's chopping up strawberries like, oh, this one's got mold on it. Yet you'll eat off a roller in Kansas City.
Well, what did you say? Well, just chop the bad part out, man. It's not a problem.
Taylor Smith, how often are the rollers cleaned? Once a week. But we said they were cleaned every day.
Dude, how you going to do me like that, bro?
Don't lie to me.
Once a week.
Is that your honest answer, dude, or are you just trolling?
So Ronnie and Julio and Stevie, who are all reaching their gritty, sweaty, dust-covered construction worker arms in there. No, bro. Once a week. OG Gary, my in-laws own the 7-Eleven by Weber State, and they disinfect the roller grills daily.
See, there we go.
Facts.
See,
What have I said is the one underrated food at 7-Eleven?
pizza.
Do they put that pizza on those rollers? They don't. You want food at 7-Eleven, you get the pizza.
Right.
And OG Gary, it's in your DNA, right? You know, because your family owns 7-Elevens. 7-Eleven pizza, even though I haven't had it recently, is good. It's gas, dude. Roll call for the rollers. Block me, Monty. Send me back to Russia with love. That's amazing.
That's
Fat
right.
Jesus. I'm not the rollers. It's the guy who came from the bathroom, picked up the taquito, then put it back on the.
Stop
Well, this
it.
one doesn't look so good.
Stop it.
I'm gonna put that back. How about this one? Nope. That.
What are we doing?
I think that happens. You can't tell me
Dude, we don't need to
That's
talk about
Stevie.
this, dude.
with fecal matter on his
Dude,
fingers.
stop,
Is it like, how about
dude.
this hot dog? No,
Bro.
not that one. How about this one?
Shut the fuck up.
No, I won't, because that happens.
Dude,
That happens.
that's what they do.
bro.
7-Eleven is where to go for food off
No,
rollers.
QT, dude. QT.
Gary says, no, I'm in West. You're in West Jordan. We haven't golfed together yet.
Bruh.
Yeah, because Gary's ducking us, dude. Oh, well, I got to go to school and I got a job and I got all this stuff to do. Okay, Gary. Fine, dude. Trying to give you free golf, and this is what we get.
Seeing our bros up this weekend at Canyons was fun. Gary wasn't one of them. You know, Saturday we're out there and people are, hey, Monty. Gary,
Hey, Monty.
Program.
it's a thing. I get an egg roll from QT once in a while. Egg rolls at QT. Okay. I miss having QT. I will say the one redeeming quality, and it's the one redeeming
Few and far
quality
between.
about Phoenix, because goddamn, it's hot in Phoenix. The QT, I do miss the QT, but I think Maverick is on par with QT.
Yeah.
And it should be noted, we are talking about gas station food.
Yeah. Like, come on.
You know, dude that abides. Ain't nothing like a 7-Eleven AM cheeseburger roll in the PM. Okay, these were on the roller at
Monty.
6 o'clock, Monty. They're now 75% off
Monty, say less, man. I'm all in.
with a free side of fecal matter from
Let's turn up.
James.
Let's turn up.
I'm being honest. All the sweaty dudes were gassed over the hot
Dude,
dogs.
Stop, dude.
That was a masterpiece of dog shit.
Bro, stop, man. Damn.
I did get fired from. Well, you got fired from QT.
Well, Monty, I was just eating too many of the taquitos off the rollers.
Mr. Preston, I eat off the roller team lean.
See, and this is a prerequisite of the conversation, because if you're going to eat off the roller, you got to know if you're team lean or team squat.
I eat off the roller team lean. First of all, that is so 180 degrees away from me. I don't eat off the roller, and we are all team squat, especially now that the squatty potty is in the hizzy.
No.
And if you don't know what a squatty potty is, you're doing it wrong. Wow, Preston, that was well done. That's one of the greatest comments ever on this show.
That's how you do it too. Mr. Preston listens every day. Our dude Preston, amazing guy,
awesome mechanic, and
he'll just pop into the comments section when he's done turning wrenches for like 2 seconds and just have a goated comment
and drop a team lean bomb.
Yeah, I mean that's how you do it right there, dude. That's perfect technique.
In all seriousness, Preston, I got to get you working on my. So I have a Jeep Grand Cherokee Summit.
Mm-hmm.
You know the tailgate opens on its own.
Yeah, power tailgate.
Thank you. Power lift gate.
Lift gate. Sorry, my bad.
It's a Dodge, not a Ram.
Right.
The power arm doesn't work anymore. It'll occasionally open it, but it never closes it. They're like $200 on Amazon. I don't know what I probably don't even. I could probably do it. If I could do it myself, wouldn't I do everything myself?
Yes, though? but we need to spread the wealth, dude.
With these soft, supple hands. Maybe after I get back from work. Don't forget the last week of June. That trip is 2 weeks away. What's the date today?
Yeah, you guys are going to suffer the last week of June, dude.
I'm leaving. I'm going to Hawaii the last week of June, and I'm playing 3.
So what? You just don't show up to work then, or?
Shut up. I just couldn't let me enjoy my 5 minutes of Hawaiian time.
Well, 5 minutes is longer than you usually get, so you know.
3 minutes of greatness. I am playing 3 awesome golf courses on Kauai.
Yeah.
Super stoked.
Yeah.
Super stoked. I know that we're not allowed to travel together anymore now that you are, fully coupled, but no, I'm never flying Southwest again. See, you're trolling today. You woke up and chose violence. I fly Delta, and I do not.
The boarding process with Southwest is traumatizing, bro. There's no way around it.
The boarding process? The whole thing? Again, this is a guy who says Target is a good place to shop right here.
I'm a Southwest pilot, and I'm going to taxi down the runway at like 100 miles an hour, okay?
And slam you into the ground when we land. Maybe you've heard of like soft landing. Anyway, maybe after Hawaii, Preston, we need to get together and I probably need an oil change. And I need Preston. Yeah. Anyway, Tanner Plummer. One time I got an egg roll at 7-Eleven, and an hour later it was Mud Butt City.
Dude, you did not just say mud butt, bro.
Mike Smith is on Team Roller Life.
See, I'm not the only one, dude.
Fred Fecal Fingers. Exactly right. UW fan Jim. It's not self-serve around here. Oh.
Wait, what do you mean?
The rollers are not self-serve. You have to well, that's how it should be.
Really?
Yes. Dude, I am never mouth kissing you again.
Okay.
Who are we? Tom Brady?
Yeah, look, Tom Brady.
I meant to get the picture of Tom Brady's house. Did you guys see Tom Brady's house? That is almost done, and then we got to go. Tom Brady's house is gorgy. It is, and now I'm not going to be able to find it. Yeah. But it is.
We can find it for tomorrow.
We'll find it for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's house that he is building
the
in
single
Brentwood
life is treating him well,
dude. That place is amazing. I need to work less and make more money so that I can build a house like that. Because what would go in real quick? What would go into your dream house?
I don't know. Depends if I'm in California, like that's where the house is going to be. Because I think that really matters.
In Brentwood.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I would probably have,
how many car garage?
Probably only like 3 or 4. Like 3 or 4. I think the bigger thing would be. The bigger thing would be, size of bedrooms. I like to have some real estate in the bedroom.
Basement or no basement?
Yeah, probably finished
in LA.
basement,
Basements are tough though.
They are. But they're cooler. They're awesome for entertaining.
Yeah.
It depends what. Again, see, this is the problem in California. My first ask before you even start talking about what's in the house is how much land do you have? Do you even have a backyard? If you assuming obviously Tom's going to have a backyard, but like if you're building a house, like do you have a backyard? How much of a backyard? Pool? No pool? Like those are the things you first have to decide before you even decide what's in the house.
Yep, I agree. Need a place. If it's LA, you got to have a place for a simulator.
Yeah.
But if it's Heber, I need a par 3 hole.
Yeah.
Give me like a 200 or a 160.
Yeah.
I want a par 3 hole that I can do 160 or 180.
Well, you just need 2 tee boxes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like you need the location of the hole almost doesn't matter. Like you just need to set up. And
Damian Fowler, Jake, we don't care if you want to hear it or not. You brought this on yourself. You did.
And it's true. Yeah.
Ask for a fresh slice at 7-Eleven. If you want good pizza, have them make it a fresh slice. Then it's good. But the ones that sit there for like 20 minutes are not good.
No, they get dried out.
Okay. All right. The Slurpee Soaker. A new soaker term on the Monty Show. Southwest boarding process is Lord of the Flies. It really is.
Absolutely brutal.
It really is. San Diego State Glen. In Cali, rollers behind the counter. The disposable gloves get put on. Roller cleaned every, I don't know, LOL. But at least it's behind the counter.
Yeah.
So Johnny doesn't come in and, it is what it is. Chrissy, final comment. Brentwood is an elite old money area. LeBron got a house in Brentwood also. Brentwood's beautiful. It's where OJ lived.
Yeah.
Until, that thing happened. Oj. Do you miss OJ yet?
No.
I don't either. All right. The Monty Show, as always, is presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. You guys, if you're riding your bikes, please be careful. Bike accidents are so prevalent this time of year. Dog bites are a big deal this time of year. Motorcycle accidents, please be aware of people on 2 wheels, man. It is so deadly for a motorcycle and a car to collide, no matter the speed. Please take care. But if you're in that unfortunate position, make sure you're ready to go. Have the Advocates on speed dial. Get to theadvocates.com. Chat with an injury attorney live online, and it won't cost you a dime. At theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.